Hello everyone, this is Mumbo here, welcome back, and today we're back on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 5, and we're currently over here in the middle of the Hermitcraft mountain range, right next to the new balloon that we built in the previous episode, which I'm sure has gone down very well indeed. Haven't actually seen the comments for that one just yet because I'm recording this video very early. It is currently Halloween. Today is Halloween. I'm not dressed up at all. I feel like I'm a little bit underdressed. Look at me. I'm just in my regular diamond armor. There's nothing scary about any of that. But anyway, in today's episode, I am going to be getting straight down to business and we're going to be doing some stuff. But before we begin, I want to try something. And I generally like to do this every sort of 6 months to a year. I think the last time I did this was around about 9, maybe even 10 months ago. But I want to ask you guys a question. Do you reckon we can get 10,000 likes on this video? Now, I never ever ask you that. I never ask people to like the video, but it's always just a little bit of a benchmark for me. I like to do this every now and again just to see how the viewer interaction is doing. So do you reckon we could get 10,000 likes on this here Hermitcraft episode? So if you enjoy the Hermitcraft series or you enjoy the videos that I produce but you don't generally hit that like button, this would definitely be the time to do it, because the last time we did this, I'm going to be honest, we soared right past 10,000 likes and we managed to get 25,000, which was absolutely insane. So if we could recreate that, I would be very, very impressed indeed. But that's just one quick thing that I wanted to ask you right at the beginning of this episode. Now we are going to be cracking on with all of the building that we've got planned. So here's the deal. We're going to be doing a few bits and pieces in today's episode. First off, we need to build a bridge from the mainland up into the hot air balloon, because as you can quite clearly see, unless you got some crazy flying boots or some mad parkour abilities, you aren't going to be getting into the hot air balloon anytime soon. So that means we need some way to get from here up into there. Now, I was originally thinking that we would chuck a nether portal inside the balloon, but that's not particularly creative, and I fancy getting a little bit creative today, so it is going to be a bridge, and I'm sure we'll be able to make that look really very nice indeed. So that is the plan for that one, and also on top of that, we are going to be building the inside of the balloon itself, because if you missed the end of the previous episode, I mentioned the fact that the base is actually going to be on the inside of the balloon. So inside that big thing there is going to be where all of the storage system, my furnaces, my enchanting station, my potion brewing, all of that crazy stuff is all going to be going on up there, and it will make a very, very nice home for us indeed. So that is the plan. We're going to be building all of that in today's episode. It's going to be pretty jam-packed, but I'm fairly certain we'll be able to do at least most of it. But before we even begin on all of that sort of stuff, we have got a bit of a mining challenge to do. I'm going to be mining for 1 hour and 1 hour only. Let me know down in the comments section how many items you think I'm going to get, and I will report back to you in a couple of seconds with all of the results. Now, I gotta be honest, ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the worst mining sessions I have done for a very, very long time. I can't believe it. It was awful. We had a really rough time, very unlucky indeed. Let's take a look at my total resources. This is all of the stuff that I have on Hermitcraft right now. After that mining session, we probably added around about 7 stacks of redstone, probably about 5 stacks of lapis, and a bunch of coal. We actually got a ton of those sorts of resources, you know, iron, lapis, gold, and all that sort of thing. But diamonds, where were they? I mean, seriously, they must be out hiding today, okay? Because we got 7 diamonds in 1 full hour of mining, and that's using fortune as well. I mean, just think, right? Last week, I did a mining session, we got 90 diamonds. 7 diamonds in 1 full hour. I can't believe it. I'm actually upset. I'm sure you can hear in my voice. I'm actually upset by this. It's ruined my day, that mining session. I always look forward to those. I love doing a bit of mining in Minecraft, but sadly, it just hasn't converted today. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next project, and that, my friends, is the accessibility to the hot air balloon. So we need to build some form of bridge. I have an idea in my head as to how I want this to look. I want it to be like a rope bridge sort of thing, so it slacks like that. It's a nice curve that comes into the hillside. Oh, that's a really tough shape to make in Minecraft. I mean, this is going to be a tough building project. I can tell I'm really going to struggle with it, but I am going to try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start placing down some blocks, and we'll see what it looks like in a couple of minutes. As far as the shape is concerned, I feel like I've done a pretty decent job there. Look, we've got a nice clean slope that goes right the way up to the hot air balloon. It's quite good. It's quite progressive. I mean, there is one thing that I have noticed that it's a little bit of a tiny problem with the shape, and that is the fact that this little part here, it looks a lot straighter than the rest, especially from some angles. For example, this one, yeah, no, that actually looks pretty good there. So I think it's an okay looking slope, But there is a bit of a problem, as you may have noticed, and that is the fact that due to my lack of planning, I have built it around about 5 meters away from the edge of the hot air balloon, which isn't quite going to do, okay? I'm not going to be leaving like that, don't you worry. But also another thing that I've noticed is that I don't really like the colour of this bridge. I would much prefer it to be a slightly lighter wood colour, for example the oak wood there. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take down this entire thing, rebuild it once again, but I'm going to have to rebuild it using that nice block type right there. So the main part of the bridge is now complete. Look, you can see it slopes down like that and then continues over to the mainland. So let's just walk down here. It's a very nice and smooth sloping bridge and take a look at it. I haven't seen this just yet. I've just finished building it. So let's see how this all looks. I'm going to slowly turn around. And yeah, that looks okay. That doesn't look too bad at all. That is a good shape for it to be. Let's take a look at it from dead side on. Yeah, that's lovely. That is absolutely perfect, exactly how I wanted it. One thing that I will say is that it looks a little bit angular on the bottom side of those stairs there, so I might end up placing in upside down stairs across the bottom there. That might make things a little bit better because that looks quite square down at the bottom. But other than that, I would say that that is pretty good. Yeah, that's gone very, very well indeed. I'm so happy with this. The bridge is looking nice. I've actually managed to create a fairly organic looking shape right there. Now what we have to do is we have to do the armrests and also something on the underside of this. I'm not 100% certain if I want to do that just yet, but we definitely need to add some armrests in. And what I thought I'd do, because you may be wondering, you were just talking about the fact that you wanted to use oak wood for the middle part and you've continued to use spruce wood. That is because I had a bit of an idea in my head of how I wanted this to look, and I thought perhaps we could use oak wood fence posts going up the sides. Then you'd have the spruce wood in the middle, and then you'd have the slightly lighter wood on the outside. Thought that would look fairly cool. I don't know, I might be just going mad, but I thought we'd give it a quick test. So I've just started to place in all of the fence posts. I used up all of the ones that I had in my chests, and straight away, I am starting to like this build a lot more. When I first built it, even though I got the shape correct, I was a little bit concerned because the picture in my head, it didn't quite match up to what I was seeing on the screen, and the bridge itself, on its own, just a 1 block wide little thing, looked just a tiny bit silly. But now I've added in these fence posts here, it adds a little bit of bulk to the build, it looks a little bit more realistic, and more like a rope swing, which is much, much better. Now, there are a few things that are slightly frustrating about it. For example, we've got this big gap here where none of the fence posts are actually connecting up to the half slabs. That's a little bit frustrating. And also, the other thing is that it's quite hard to line these fence posts up with our half slabs. So on this place, it's absolutely fine. We got the fence next to us and it looks good. But on this spot here, it feels like the fence should go up a little bit. But then if you place it up here, it's way too high and it's quite hard to find that little middle ground balance. But I think I'm doing a pretty decent job, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep placing all of these down. I'll go right the way up this one side, right the way up to the top, and we'll see how it looks like once it's done. Oh wow, that is absolutely perfect. Oh, it completely matches the image that I had in my brain, and that was always such a good feeling in Minecraft. If you can recreate what you have in your brain in the game, that is amazing. Look at that. It looks pretty real. It looks like an actual rickety rope bridge. I know I keep saying rope swing. That is completely not what I want to create. Well, it would be pretty amazing. I mean, a rope swing from a hot air balloon. Could you imagine? That would be incredible. But unfortunately, we can't recreate that sort of thing in Minecraft for the minute. The rickety rope bridge is absolutely dead on. I mean, from this angle here, from down beneath, it doesn't look quite so good. And that is because you can see that those fences there, they aren't quite connected, which is a bit of a shame. There's probably some way that I can do that so that they actually do connect up to the edge of the blocks. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place in the other side because I am super happy with how that has turned out. That is so much better than I expected. I mean, my brain usually comes up with some pretty fantastic images, but it's not very often that I can recreate them in the game. The rope bridge is now complete. As you can see, I've added in all of the fence posts and it is looking as good as ever. I am so happy that I decided to attempt this project. It's brought a massive smile to my face. As you can see, I've added a few extra details in. This is the nice little entrance area. It says Mumbo Jumballoon. I don't know what I think to that name. Let me know down in the comment section. I'd say it's fairly silly, but it definitely fits the bill. It definitely does the job. I suppose we could also go for the Mumbo Jumbo Balloon base because that is pretty much what it is. But anyway, if we quickly just head up the bridge, let's give this a quick use. I love using this thing. It's such a nice, just gradual incline up onto the top here. But then all we have to do is stand in the middle right here. Don't know if I've done this yet in today's episode. We just need to stand on this slime block, line ourselves up with the middle, and then hit this button, and we should fly upwards. Oh, we clearly didn't do it quite right, so let's give that another go. Just stand around about here, hit the button, and we should land on the ladder, and we are now on the inside of the balloon. Now this is going to be where the magic happens. We're going to be building all of our stuff on the inside here. It's looking a little bit bare at the minute, which is why in today's episode we are going to be doing all of the interior decorating. Yes, we're going to be filling out this area, adding in the storage system, the furnaces, all of the bare necessities, the essential bits that we need to get started on the Hermitcraft server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather up some resources, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. So we're having a little bit of a change of plan here. Since that last cut, it has been a couple of days, and in that time I have done a few bits and pieces around the Hermitcraft server. So first off, I did a little bit of a live stream. That was on Sunday. It is now Monday. I'm recording this segment right now on Monday. This video is going to be released on Thursday. I know, it's all very confusing indeed. But we did a live stream on Sunday, and it was extremely successful. It was so successful. One of the best live streams I've done for a very long time. In total, I think we got around about 30,000 viewers throughout the 2.5 hours. And at our peak, we had 4,900 viewers at once. Awesome stuff, guys. That really is incredible. But if we take a look here, this is what I built in that live stream. It doesn't look particularly fancy right now, but all it is a very simple tree farm. What we've got is we have got this nice structure that we've built here using the acacia wood, the acacia trunks, and then a bunch of stone slabs. And then up at the top, we have this bright orange wood. I love it. I think it looks so cool. I don't know if I'm going to be using it in many of my builds in the future just because it is pretty bright. But in this instance, I think it looks really quite good, especially with all of the other blocks we've used here. But in the middle here, we've got a bunch of hoppers, and they all feed back into this chest here. And that is filling up with the saplings. Also, a generous hermit has decided to donate a bunch of bone meal, which is very useful indeed. But all we have to do to gather up the spruce wood is we just have to go up like this, just gradually going up the tree, gathering all of the wood, and then once we reach the top, obviously all of the saplings will drop down into the hoppers. They will end up in the chest, and any excess wood that we miss out, that will end up in these hoppers. It will end up in the chest, and that means that we can have a nice and simple collection system. Nothing too advanced at the minute. We're not getting any crazy tree farms using pistons or redstone going on just yet, but that is because it is early days on the server, and I thought this would be a good thing to build. So I'm going to make use of this for a bit, because we're going to need a ton of wood for this project, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. I've got a little bit more good news for you. Check out how well the chicken farm is doing right now. We have got almost a full chest of roast chicken. We've got half a stack to go, which is incredibly impressive, especially considering I only built this thing around about a week ago, and we already have almost an infinite supply of roast chicken. I'm certainly not going to use all of this stuff. It's definitely coming in faster than any of the hermits are using it, so that is pretty positive. But one thing that I do want to say is that I know that we decided on McMumbos right at the beginning of this episode, but I just wanted to ask you guys. I recently got a comment on one of my videos that definitely caught my eye, because they suggested that I should call it Los Polos Hon Mumbos. Now, I'm a big Breaking Bad fan, as some of you know, one of my favourite TV shows, and I think that would be perfect. So let me know what you think to that down in the comment section. But anyway, finally, we're going to start work on the inside of the balloon. It's been a long time coming. Alright, so the floor is now in place, and I just want to warn you before we even start that I haven't really planned this out. I haven't built this in a testing world. I am just going to go with the flow. I have a rough idea in my head of what I want all of this to look like, and so far it is shaping up fairly nicely, but that is just because we have put the floor in place. But as you can see, we've got the trapdoor in the middle that has the ladder that goes right the way down to where our little slime block launcher is. There isn't too much going on in this tunnel. Maybe at some point in the future, I'll add some little bits and pieces in here, perhaps a few chests or furnaces or other bits and bobs, but for the minute it is going to be leaving it empty because this is going to be the main area. We're going to have a storage system right here. So this is where all of the chests are going to be, all of the essential items that we need in the base. This is going to be like the main area, which I spend most of my time in. I always start recording my episodes in storage areas, and I guess I'm going to be doing the same thing again because this is probably where I'm going to be spending quite a lot of my time. Now, I reckon all of my chests are going to be going in here because, as you can see, these blocks can actually be removed. And it's the same thing with all of the ones around here, so we can take out these ones here, and we can take out the ones on this side as well. And I'm replacing a lot of this area with chests that will probably go up fairly high just so we get tons and tons of storage space. so that should be good. Progress has been made and a few bits and pieces have been done. We have added in a bunch of stuff to the room and I'll quickly take you through them. One thing that I do just want to reiterate though is that I haven't planned any of this. This is all freeform coming from my brain, and that means that the whole building process is taking a little bit longer than it normally would, but it does give me the opportunity to play around with various different ideas, which is always good fun. So first things first, we have got a few of these pillars going around like this. Now these are big spruce wood pillars, and in between those, in this area right here, I believe I'm going to be having all of my chests. Okay, so this is going to be the storage area, the place in which all of the chests are going to be, and this is going to be like the bulk storage. And then in between these pillars, you can see I have this little walk space here. Don't really know what I'm going to do with that just yet. I might end up placing blocks in the middle here. Who knows? I haven't really got a plan for that place, but I'm sure we'll think of something fairly interesting. Then in terms of the floor, as you can see, I have been changing things up just a little bit. We have got a few of these spruce wood logs going around like that for detail, which I think looks really quite good. And then also we have these redstone lamps. They're going to be lighting the place up because my goal for this series of Hermitcraft is to try and stay away from using torches and things. I know that in my previous base, I had tons upon tons of torches, and I want to try and stay away from doing that sort of thing. Now, there is one thing that I'm not 100% certain on, and that is this little centerpiece, okay? So, obviously, we have the trapdoor in the middle. That is how we get up into the base. That is fairly essential. But surrounding that, I've got these spruce wood logs and also these crafting benches. Now, here is the problem, okay? Originally, I had the oak wood logs going around in the place of the crafting benches, but that looked far too light. And then I tried the oak wood planks, these ones here. That also looked far too white, and it didn't look particularly good. So I chucked in these crafting benches, and they were probably the best so far. But I'd still say there is definitely room for improvement. I wouldn't say that's 100% certain, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But anyway, I'm going to continue building, and we will see what I can come up with. So, a large quantity of the storage room is now complete. We have got all of the chests in place. We have got all of the droppers in here. Now, I am going to do a little bit of explaining there, but there is just one last piece that I've just noticed I didn't quite finish. So, let's just chuck in all of the half slabs that go in here. Oh, and of course, I begin to bug out. This only happens when I start recording, but there we go. That is everything done. So, first off, let's do some explaining, right? So we have got all of these chests in here. These are going to be for all of the general items. I'll probably get some form of sorting system up. When I say sorting system, I don't mean a redstone sorting system, as we don't really have enough space for that sort of thing. But I mean a general item sorting system for me, for placing in all of the items into the chest. But these are going to be all of the general items, and then these droppers on the sides are going to be for slightly rarer items. So I'm talking diamonds, emeralds, gold, iron, potentially, lapis, redstone, that sort of thing will all be going into all of these droppers here, and that is where we are going to be keeping all of the precious materials that we're not going to have much of, because obviously we don't need that much storage space for them, so there's no point in having a dedicated chest for it. Now onto this ladder section. This will take us up to the second floor of the hot air balloon, and that is going to be this area up here. I don't really know how many floors we're going to have, because as you can see, space is fairly limited, but this is going to be where the next level is. I don't even know what's going to be going up here. We're not going to be working on that in today's episode, but what I thought I'd do is I would quickly chuck in the floor for this level and do all of the decorating for the top part of this level. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it open top for most of it, so all of this floor is going to be on the outskirts. I'll see how I can deal with that later on, but yeah, I'm going to start placing the blocks and we'll see what it looks like. The entire top part of the storage area is now complete, and it looks very bland. We don't have any plans for this place just yet, so I thought, what's the point in making it look all fancy? I'm just going to cover it all in these oak wood slabs here. So that is what we have going on. But down at the bottom, from down here, it looks good. It looks really quite cool. I've used some stairs going around the edges, and it gives a nice 3D textured look. I don't really know how to explain it, but it adds a little bit of depth to the build, which is always a positive thing. So I think I would say that we can call it a day in terms of this build. Now, there are a few things that I would like to change maybe at some point in the future. Obviously, the crafting benches, they're still up for debate. I don't know if I like them. I don't know if I hate them. Can't really tell just yet. Another thing that is sort of frustrating, but I don't think there's anything I can do about it, is the fact that you can see this hardened clay here. It really does stand out. It is quite obvious. We have it out the back as well. I don't think there's anything I can do about it though, because that is the edge of the balloon. If we start messing with the edge of the balloon, then it's not going to look quite so good from the outside, and that I want to try and avoid ruining my only good project that I feel like I've done so far on the Hermitcraft server. But anyway, that is the storage area complete. We have everything done and dusted. We are ready to start chucking some items in here, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. If you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.